All right, we're here. I don't know if everybody else is or not, but we started the broadcast. The thing went just a few seconds into it, and then it popped up with an error, and it says it's going to end the stream, restart it. And I'm like, okay, well, that probably means all the links I've sent out earlier today are no good now. And I think it's probably on a different link now. So I went and reshared the new link out on the Facebook and all, but I don't know. Good old Evie Mucks dropped the ball on that one, I think. But anyway, let's get the crew in here. We got Mr. Ballard and Mr. Corliss here tonight. How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Man, I wish somebody would tell me how in the heck it can be October 1st already. I went to schedule this show tonight, and I'm like, oh, yeah, today's the 1st of October. I cannot believe how fast this year has gone. But 90,
Seems
what,
like
about,
just yesterday it was September 30th.
yeah, funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be Christmas before you know it, too.
That's for sure.
30 days until the start of Christmas light season.
Yeah, we haven't got Halloween out of the way yet, or much less Thanksgiving. Anyway, well, Paul, what you got going on? Anything you want to show or talk about? Or
The only thing I did this week was I found the top of my workbench and I was so proud I even sent you a picture.
I know, and I was shocked. I was really. You should have sent me a before and an after. He just sent me the
Oh,
after.
I would have been ashamed. That workbench is an old Sears Craftsman workbench from about, I would say, the early 50s. And it's all maple. The top is all maple. In fact, the whole thing is maple.
Yeah.
And I've had it for, well, my dad, I got it from my dad around I'd say 65, 66. And yeah, it's a nice solid workbench.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's good.
It'd be better if I did projects on it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of storage.
It's a good solid horizontal surface.
It is. It's an excellent horizontal surface.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can get a project on it before it accumulates more stuff back on it.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah. All right, and Ryan, I know you've been busy. Anything you want to discuss?
Sure. Yeah, I've been working on getting the Ranger CNC revamped and up and running, and it's um, it's been fun trying to get it to where I want it to be, and frustrating at the same time. But yeah, we're just about there. I got all the gantries on there now, the new gantry, and it's pretty much down to wiring it back up. You know,
Yeah. All right.
it's really close. So putting I need to get the wire the motors and all that back onto it, and then put um, the limit switches and stuff on. But it's close. It's real close. Pretty exciting.
Yeah. Can't wait to see that thing moving around.
Yeah, I just scheduled a project update video to go live tomorrow morning on the Ranger CNC YouTube channel. So,
All right.
if
I'm sure I will get a notification. What time is it going live? 0600?
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
I will be up by then, I'm sure. So I will check it out. I haven't done much of nothing as far as woodworking wise. Uh, I did order at the end of last week. I think it was last Friday. I placed an order with Cutting It Close for some more cutting board stuff. You know, the inlay pieces. I've got a maple and two walnut, and then as far as the cutting boards themselves, I got a maple and a walnut. So trying to decide which one I'm going to do next. I've been working on a design for Halloween, um, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do it first. But I also have, uh, when I did that American Bison, I never was happy with that because I did two things wrong. And although it looks pretty, like if I just was to hold it up right here, and in fact, I got a picture of it on the thing, you go, it looks good, but I can see the flaws. And if I can see them, I don't like it. It bugs me. So I think I might rerun that one because that's a maple base with the walnut inlay. And the other one that I'm going to do for Halloween is going to be a walnut base with the maple inlay and maybe one or two other species um, in it as well. But I'll probably do the Halloween one first. That way I can make sure I can get it done by Halloween. I think I can.
Are you gonna so for the bison one? How are you gonna redo it? Like because you soaked it in the um what mineral
Mineral oil.
spirits or whatever mineral oil?
No, I mean I'm going to run another one.
Are you just gonna do a whole different one?
Yeah, I'm just going to totally do another one.
Well, could you skim that one and redo that one?
Well, I have sanded on it, and it probably doesn't look as bad as it did. Let me pull the picture out so everybody can see that what
Because I
we're
mean,
talking
if you're
about.
gonna, I'm assuming it's gonna penetrate through some, but will it penetrate all the way through down to the bottom of the inlay?
I'm not sure what you're asking me here.
Like you could just cut that board or the cutting board down.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not going to do that because it don't look that terrible. Uh, when I get ready to list these on my website, this will probably be one that goes on the bargain bin category. uh, but this is the one we're talking about here. And it just, like I said, looking at it like this, you go, yeah, it looks pretty good. But if I zoom in here, you can start to see this stuff right here. I just had a little bit of tear out and stuff that it was my fault because I learned after the fact, after I started skimming this off, when I'd pull it out of the press, I had the wrong bit in there and I didn't realize it until it was too late. And plus, it also, I had the Z depth set just a hair too low too. So it just made for a lot of sanding and stuff. Like I said, it don't look bad, but I'm not happy with it. And I really like this is a file that I purchased from that 3D wave place, but I purchased it as a laser ready file. So it was ready to cut with the laser. But the thing is, and I'll zoom in here, is what you have to edit is you have to go in here where all these sharp points are, like here and here and here and here and all these, and you have to put a little radius on there for your tool to get it up in there, or you won't get a good fit. So the inlay fit good and all. I just screwed it up when I was doing the surfacing off, and just not totally happy with it. You get far enough away from it, it looks pretty good. It's pretty nice, but
Well, I'll be interested in seeing how much you put it on bargain bin for. I like that one. I like a fluffy cow.
well, It's either that or it'll be some real pretty firewood. So
I'd skim it before I'd
yeah,
would say that thing should be firewood.
yeah,
I'd is it the kit that they put out for last month. I think it was like a 3/4 inch cutting board or something like that. So
It
I
was a,
mean, you could cut that thing down pretty far, I think, and still save it.
I think it was 1.5 inches with a 1/2 inch plug
Oh,
piece.
okay. Well, still, you could.
Oh yeah, you could cut that down.
yeah. I could, but like I
Yeah,
said,
thanks,
I'm not
Wade.
happy with it, but it's not that bad that I'm going to try to mess this one up and redo an inlay on this one and then make it thinner. I'll just do a whole new board inlay and everything with it.
What's the chances of getting that board in the same spot and going in and cutting out the plug and putting a new plug in it?
Oh, he could because he's got it was in the same spot on
Yeah.
his machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have on this notepad right here. I still have my X and Y coordinates. So all I'd have to do is set the that little L-shaped fence thing on, and then stick it on there, and then go right to. So I could probably hit it pretty good, but I don't even want to bother trying to do that because if you're off even just a hair, it's not right. So like I said, I'll probably just do. That's why I bought another maple blank with an extra walnut inlay piece because I keep telling myself I really like that file. I'd like to do another one and get it right. And then, like I said, this one will either go in the bargain bin, sent to Ryan, or pretty firewood. One of those three choices. I don't know which. Uh, but anyway, since
Hey,
we're
you
already,
could use it as a giveaway on one of your shows.
I don't
And
want to give away something that I already know there's stuff wrong with it. Uh, I'd rather give away something that I nail it.
I'll be right back. My nephews are here and they want to show me something real quick, so I'll be right back.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I've had a few people over the past, I don't know, week or two ask me about what settings I've used, and uh, so I've sent those folks, you know, emailed them my settings and all, and then I thought, well, might as well just do a show and I can show what my settings are here if anybody's interested in wanting to try one of these. Uh, I will say, uh, let me find my little. When I started trying to figure out some settings, this is. Oh, let's see. What is this? This this is a piece of poplar. You can see it's only about, I don't know, probably about 3/4 thick. But this is a little test piece. You can see I did two pockets over here, and when I did the plug, they weren't even close, so I didn't even fill those pockets. But then I did one over here, and you can still, I haven't finished sanding this because it was just a test. This yellowish stuff, that's just glue. And there's a little bit of a gap right above my finger, right there. But everywhere else, it looked really good. And this is, like I said, this is poplar, and this was some cherry that I had. And I just threw a couple of pieces together good enough to where I could get an inlay section to test this. And this is really the only test I've done. And like I said, there's a gap there, but everywhere else, it came out good enough that I felt comfortable enough going ahead and trying to do uh, this one. This is the first one I did. Uh, And this is also a file that I purchased from Nick at Browenwood, www.browenwood.com. And so I didn't try to even edit anything on this file because I thought if he's selling it, and I know it should have all the edits already done to it, uh, and it's some pretty detailed stuff with all these little dotted line things and all that. But anyway, that one came out really good. And that basically was, other than this little test, that basically was the first in-grain, um, cutting board inlay that I did. So felt pretty good about it. I thought, okay, I'm 1 for 1 right now. So, and then of course I did the bison and screwed it up. So that kind of humbled me a little bit. But
Well, if you think about it, though, you really got lucky with that one because of having to shrink it a little bit and still being able to have all the corners and all that really good.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I know I've mentioned this on this show before. I am absolutely not going to take credit for putting in the hard work and finding the perfect settings that I now use, because I didn't do that. When I bought this file for this cow or cuts of beef, whatever you want to call it, I don't know what he called this. I think he just called it cow. But when I bought that file from the Browenwood website, he not only includes the SVG, but he includes the VCarve files, and he doesn't take his tool pass off of there. He leaves his tool pass in there. Now, he still does things different than I do. So, but when you get that file, and it's not like he's kept his settings secret either, because he talks about them, or he'll show them in graphics on some of his videos and stuff. But anyway, since they were in that VCarve file, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, I get how he's doing it. I guess that must work. But the only thing he did is he uses basically the same tools I did. I use this happens to be a white side, but you can really use any kind of a 1/8 inch upcut, uh, upcut spiral. This, like I said, this is a white side and it's on a 1/4 inch shank, which I like to use the bigger shanks. And then he uses an Amana bit, but he uses a slightly different one than I do. And I just looked it up, so if I'm seeing it right, he uses Amana bit number 46473, which is a metric bit. It has like a 0.25 millimeter radius on the tip. Okay. Well, mine is a Amana 46280, and mine's not the metric. It's a 1/64th radius tip. Well, if you do the mathematics on this, a 1/64th radius tip is about 16,000. I think it's just over 15 thousandths. And if you take a 0.25 millimeter radius tip like Nick uses, I think it's just under 10 thousandths if you convert it to freedom units, we'll call it. But the key thing is, when I went to looking at his bit, what he was using and what I had in my drawer here, they both are a 6.2 side angle, or in the case of adding it to your VCarve Pro, you can't put this in as a tapered ball nose. although that's what it really is. What I did is I already had it in there as a tapered ball nose, but what I did is I just made another copy, and I told Vectric that, hey, this one is a V bit. You put it in as a V bit, and instead of using the side angle of 6.2 like you do when you're putting in your tapered ball nose info in Vectric, you put the included angle. So now it's, instead of 6.2, it's a 12.4. And I'll show that. Let me get that up here.
I had a question about the website for the, is it Browenwood that you
It's
got that?
let me just put it in here. It's www.broinwood.com.
There you
So
go.
that should, yeah, I think that's going to be a link when it comes out. And, well, if not, that's what it is. It's www, just like it sounds, Browenwood. But if I come over to here, here's the, this is not the file that, I mean, it is the SVG that I got from him, but this, I didn't want to overwrite his file, so I made a copy because I knew I was going to be making changes. But if you come over here to this right here, there it says V-bit 12.4 degrees, 1/4 inch. And if I hit edit, this is what you want to have it identified as, not a tapered ball nose, which would be, you know, if you change this, you could change this to a tapered ball nose, but you want to put the tool type as a V-bit. The diameter is just the diameter of the shank, or the biggest part, which is 1/4 inch. And like I said, you use the included angle, not the side angle. So it's 12.4 degrees for that. There is 3 flutes on that. And then here you can see I've got the pass depth of 0.295. Final step pass step over is 7.5 thou, or 3%. Clearance pass is about 20%, or 50 thou. Spindle speed is only 12,000. The feed rate, again, is pretty slow. You don't want to run these very fast. Feed rate's 30 inches per minute. Plunge rate is 40. And you can see I had this one as tool 0 because my tapered ball nose, the same tool that I have listed in there, my database as a ball nose, I think is tool number 26 or something like that, 25, 26, something like that. So I just made a copy and then said, okay, now we're going to call this one a V-bit. So that's how you put that in. And then,
Marcelo wants to know if you put a flat on the bottom of the tool.
well, I'm not sure I'm understanding the question. It's got a radius tip on this tool, but you treat it like a V-bit. So over here, there's no place to say what the radius is. It just assumes it's a V-bit with a 12.4 degree angle. And as far as it knows, it thinks it's a point, but it's not. Does that make sense to anybody? Okay, so if I get back over here, usually what everybody's wanting to know is the start depth, the flat depth for the pocket, and also the start depth and flat depth for the plug. Some people call them male and female. I don't like calling them that. I just call it the pocket and a plug because that makes more sense to me than that male female stuff. So here you can see that this is my VCarve engraving tool path, and let me back up here too. When you look over here and see this pocket VCarve, that is using this one, the VCarve engraving toolpath, not the one that Vectric says VCarve inlay toolpath. You use this one, the regular old VCarve engraving toolpath. That's what, when I click this, you can see that's what it says right here. So for the pocket, start depth is 0 and has a flat depth of 0.236. And you can see that I've selected this tool that I've labeled a V-bit, the one I just showed. So that's going to do all the detail stuff. And then I'm using for my clearance tool, the one I just held up, which is my white side 1/8 inch upcut end mill.
I have a question.
Okay.
Why do you use an upcut instead of a downcut?
Well, the I don't really know the scientific answer for that. I just know that that's what other people said they use, and that was good enough for me.
Okay.
And one of
But
the mistakes I made, well, I mentioned I made a mistake when I was doing that bison. When I was putting my 1/4 inch end mill in to skim that off, I made the mistake and I grabbed the down cut end mill and not the upcut. Now, I don't know if that had any difference, made any difference with the tear out, but I had tear out. So once I realized my mistake, I've done some others since then. I always make sure I grab an upcut, 1/4 inch upcut, and I haven't had the tear out. So,
okay. I was
uh,
just curious because a lot of times you use a down cut bit so that you don't have any tear out on the edges, and that's why I was wondering why you used an upcut.
well, you might be able to use the down cut. I'm not saying you can't, but here was my thinking behind this. I'm looking at the guy that's the best best one I've ever seen do this on YouTube. So I'm thinking, if he uses an upcut, by God, old Dave's going to use an upcut. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I went with that. And I had plenty of them. I also have a 1/8 inch down cut that's with a 1/4 inch shank. But since he said he always uses upcut, that was good enough for me. I don't try to reinvent the wheel or something like that. I just do it, and it works great. Uh,
Timberfall says that a downcut can leave ridges in the pocket.
Okay,
okay.
that's good enough for me.
Well, that makes sense. And plus, you're wanting to try to get all that stuff up and out of there. Whereas a down cut's just going to push it down there and pile it up. So I don't know. Like I said, I've always seen all the guys that are really good at this use an upcut for their clearance tool. So that was good enough for me. I wasn't going to try to second guess them. So, all right. So for the plug or the pocket, then the key numbers here are start depth 0, flat depth 236. Okay. Now we'll go to the plug, and you have to make sure, for those of you that may not know, you got to make sure when you do the plug, you reverse the image. It's got to be reversed, and then you also need to put this outer thing around it so that you can cut it out and be able to press it in there. So my settings for the plug are the same exact two tools. You always want to use the same tooling. I guess it probably wouldn't matter if you used a different clearance bit. If you wanted to use a 3/16 or something like that, that's probably not going to make any difference. But as far as the one that puts the angle on everything, it needs to be the same as whatever you use for the pocket. So these are the settings. Start depth 0.158, flat depth 0.138. Again, same V-bit, or bit that I have described as a V-bit, same clearance tool, same thing. Now, what I wanted to point out is I didn't just pull them numbers out of a hat. Like I said, Nick included the um VCarve files when I bought that SVG. So if you come back over here, we're back on the pocket again. If we come look at that, start depth 0, flat depth 0.236. Well, does anybody know what 0.236 is in millimeters?
3
It's exactly 6
or 6.
millimeters. So, like I said, I didn't try to do any work to come out with these numbers. I just took what he had in millimeters and converted it to
Inches.
freedom units. So it's 0.236, is same as 6 millimeters, what he uses. And then over here on the plug, you've got, actually, this keeps rounding. The way I have my Vectric set, it rounds to 0.158, but it's actually 0.1575, and it rounds it to 158. And in case you're wondering, that is 4 millimeters, which is what Nick had. And then the flat depth at 0.1375, which rounds to 138, that is 3.5 millimeters. So you've got a total of 7.5 millimeters on the plug side, and on the pocket side, you're going 236 or 6 millimeters. And so, again, when I got that file and I saw what his numbers were, I'm like, well, I'm going to change it a little bit. So I saved a copy and then changed it, but I basically kept it the same. I just made it imperial instead of metric. And the only slight difference was on the Amana bit. He uses one that has a 0.25 millimeter radius, which is about 9.5 thou or something like that. And mine is a 1/64th, which is about 15,000. So only slightly different on the ball end, the tip on the end. But the angle was exactly the same as what he used. So that's why I felt safe running the that Amana bit that I already had.
Yeah.
So, has anybody got any questions on what I've covered so far? I've tried to leave this on here because if anybody wants the settings, all they got to do is go back, watch this again, and take a screenshot or whatever. That's it. I'd love to say that I'm real smart and I figured all that out, but I didn't. I was smart enough to go to the best guy on YouTube, and then when he has the file where he includes the files, I'm like, I'm smart enough not to change nothing, because if it works for him, there's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't work for me. And of course, you saw how the cow came out. It came out perfect, and that was the first one I'd ever done. So, and even on that one, I did not have my press that I now have. And if you're going to do these, you don't have to have a press. You can use a bunch of clamps, or if you got something really heavy you can set on it. I had clamps and some weights sitting on this one when I did it, and it came out okay. But that was enough pain in the butt that before I did the next one, I went to Harbor Freight and bought that 20-ton press. And again, the reason I went to Harbor Freight to buy their 20-ton press was because the top 3 guys that I watch that are really good at inlays, that's what they've got. And I'm like, all right, that, I don't know if that's the secret or not, but I'd like to have one anyway. So
Yeah.
I went and got the press, got it rigged up over here. We're got a bunch of a couple sheets of 3/4 plywood on the top and bottom, and some 3/4 MDF. So it's super flat and gets good even pressure. and works really well. It even did that chit one that I did that came out pretty good, and that was using stupid pine. So I think the press uh, does make a difference. And another thing, I probably shouldn't even say this, but y'all know Andy Bird, right? Andy Bird
Yep.
Builds or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
He was over at, I, I think that Nick Browenwood, he must be somewhere around the Louisville area, something like that. And I think that's where Andy Bird Builds is. I think they're both around the Louisville area. Anyway, they're close enough that Andy had gone over to Nick's shop and was kind of doing an interview, shooting a video and interviewing him and stuff. And at one point, they're they're standing there together, and Andy says, "Well, I don't know if you want me to tell this or not, but your press is kind of like your secret weapon." And the look on Nick's face told me that, yeah, he probably wanted to keep a little something to himself. But that's another reason why I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to go get one that presses in, because if that's Nick's secret, so I don't know whether he just mashes out of it or what to get such tight things, but it's a whole lot easier with a press if you got room for one, you got the budget for one.
Nice.
But
The Nighthawk's asking, why would size matter when you're doing the cow? Because you had to shrink it, and it's because of the corners and all that. If it was optimized for that bit that it was drawn with, or what, for the corners and stuff, shrinking it down could affect the corners.
all right, I'm not even understanding some of his comments here on this stuff here. He says it's 5,000 shy of 2 millimeters, so you were wrong.
Yeah,
What?
he's messing with you. One of your measurements.
When you were converting imperial to metric.
And it was rounding on you.
Okay. Well, I still don't even get what he's talking about, because what is he talking about shy of 2 millimeter? What's 2 millimeter? I don't know what that is. Yeah. All right. I don't know what that guy's thinking about, but anyway. All right. Any other questions?
Timber Falls is asking, what kind of wood did you use for that? Um, have you found that some of the types of wood don't hold the plug better than others?
Well, so far as the plug, I've used walnut, cherry, and maple,
Yeah, I
and
think any hardwood, right?
I found that they're all pretty much the same. And even when I did the chit one, that was a test to see if you, first of all, to see if you could make a end grain cutting board out of pine. So I have an end grain cutting board that's just plain with a juice groove around it out of pine, and then I made a second one, and with it I did a cherry plug of chit, and that, you know, so all different types. Now I think that, I'm sure if you talk to other folks, they'll say, well, don't use this or that, but okay. Well, I haven't used ebony, but I've seen the other guys do it, and I think it's a little trickier to work with, but because I think it's really hard for one, if I remember right, and I think it's kind of porous too.
Man,
All right.
Nighthawk's playing with some big machine.
A 40-inch outside spigot today to start roughing a 10,000-pound impeller with 3 dilocation holes. All right. All right. Was that on an X carve? Just kidding. All right. So, all right. Well, I've showed everybody all my stuff. I mean, like I said, I've had a couple people. One of the people that I sent it to got back with me and said they did one after they got my settings and came out really good. So, um, like I said, I will show something else too. Let me bring something else, and I'm not gonna. This is from somebody on YouTube University, and I don't know if this is true or not. I suspect it is, but I have not had to try it. But they said that if your plug is too loose, you reduce the plug start depth and increase the plug flat depth. So, and I'm assuming if you're, well, like that one was 7.5 millimeters, I'm assuming if you're going 4 millimeters and then 3.5, if you need to reduce it, whatever you reduce it by, you increase the flat depth by to keep the same overall, I'm guessing. Um, and then of course, if your plug is too tight and you can't get it pushed down far enough, increase the plug start depth and decrease the plug flat depth. And again, this is a screenshot that I took. I was watching a YouTube video. A guy seemed to know what he was doing because he did make some good inlays. So I took a picture of it. But like I said, I have not had to try this, so I can't really vouch for it. I'm assuming it would work because the guy acted like he knew what he was doing. But I have not had to change mine. I've used those settings. Like I said, you know me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Yeah.
when I saw that that's what Nick used, all I did was go, okay, well, I don't want to use millimeters, so I converted it to imperial, and basically everything's the same other than the tip on this here. So,
Sweet. Good deal. I
um,
can't wait to do some. I'd like to try something like that
well, let
once I
me
get the
go
machines going again.
let me go back over here.
I mean, I guess I could do it. I got my Gatton still.
Um, Let me open up another one and then I'll share my screen again. Let's go find that bison that I did. No, there it is. Okay, yeah. This is something else I need to show y'all because um, it's really important to when you're getting a file. And like I said, this was a laser ready file that I got from 3D Wave. But I spent hours, and I don't even know how many hours because I wasn't keeping track, but I spent hours getting all of this changed. And what you have to do, you probably can't even tell what I had to do to it, but see how there's a radius everywhere?
Yep.
And I do mean everywhere. You have to make sure you don't miss any because even this, where these horns are, it came to a sharp point there. So what you have to do is, in my case, I'm using that bit that has a 64th radius, which is, I just called it 15th thou. But you can put that in here and you want to make sure, you can see how that fits.
Yep.
That's what I did is I had to go to all these places and draw these little circles. Um, and I mean, I had to change it everywhere
Did you
because
miss one right there?
you want that to fit in. Now, another thing is when you're doing the, let's see, where am I at here? Maple pocket. Another thing that I do, and I think it's probably a good thing to do, is when you're checking this, see, like I changed the toolpath colors to kind of represent.
Yeah,
Again, you can't put the wood grain on it on the toolpath. It only does it on the main board.
that's
But
a
I
good
picked
idea.
this color to try to simulate what the walnut was going to look like. Well, you notice if I get right in here, you can see how it can't quite reach in here,
Uh-huh.
the clearance or the other bit. But you want to come, if you look down over here in the bottom right, like right now where I'm holding the mouse, right in this solid color here, it says minus 236. So that's that 6 millimeters I was talking about. So that's the flat dip. So it's going down, but there's only a few places, like right here. If I hold it here, it's at 0.2097. So it's not 6 millimeters, but it's only a few thou off. So same thing here. If I go right in here, it's 0.2138. So you want to make sure that you don't have, you don't want to go check something and go, oh, it's only 100 thousandths teeth. That's not going to work, because you're going to have, you're not going to get that plug to go in there. It needs to be where it's not going to be able to reach every single place, but it needs to be pretty close, within a few thou of what it is here. Like here, it's 236. Over here is well, that was 0.225. So you want to get it close enough. But again, you can see where all this stuff is rounded using that, just drawing that little circle that kind of matches the radius tip of that tapered ball nose that I'm using as a V-bit. So
Sweet.
yes, Nighthawk, we're talking wood CNC, not. Or we're talking, well, I don't know we're not cutting metal. If that's what you're talking about? No, it's not a machinist stream. It's a Hobby CNC routers is what we're doing. Okay. Appreciate you stopping by, though. All right. Well, that explains some of the weird comments I was seeing over there from him. He's a machinist thinking, yeah. All right. So, anybody else have any questions about anything? Like I said, uh, I can tell you, I mentioned that when I wanted to try one, I thought, well, there's probably nobody better to buy a file from than this guy that does them perfect.
Yeah.
So the file for the cow, I think, was $20. While I was there, I also bought the file, because he also sells the file for that 3-piece. Let me get one of them.
Oh, the stand?
The stand, and this is one I've done out of that Bamex bourbon
I like
material.
those stands. Those are nice.
But it's 3
Yeah, they are.
pieces. It makes it real nice, because if you're selling these along with your cutting boards, you can, break this down and ship it that way. Uh, but they really, really make nice stands. So this file for this was $10 from Nick, and then the file for the cow SVG, and like I said, it includes the VCarve files, was $20. So I looked at it like buying that file of that cow, because it came with the VCarve files, which is tool paths and everything. I just thought of that as buying a lesson for $20.
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is a steal. So, you know, if you are just starting out doing this and want to take a stab at doing these inlays, I would encourage you to go over there and buy a file for him. Now, don't go crazy because he's got some that are really detailed. Don't get something like the cow or the pig or something like that. Something that's fairly well.
Beginner
I think
inlay.
he has them labeled on his website. It's kind of like the degree of difficulty. And for the cow, I think he called it normal, I think, as far as the degree of difficulty. But he does have some that are more advanced and, stuff like that. So don't, make sure you walk before you run. Just pick out something uh, but you probably won't have to edit the file because, like I said, he's already done. The SVG should be the worst thing you probably have to do is like I did is he normally does all his cutting boards at 12 by 19 inches. Well, the cutting it close blanks that I buy are 12 by 18. So I think I might have had to shrink it down, scale it just a tad to get it to fit, but I knew it wasn't going to be enough to mess up where my tool wouldn't fit in there. So, but
Landis is asking how big your juice groove is.
um, I bought I'm not real super crazy about this tool, but this is what I've been using. This is a white side, 3/4 inch. Some people call this a core box or basically just a radius end mill. It's 2 flutes. It's got the big 1/2 inch shank.
That's a chunky boy.
Yeah, it's chunky. And I usually I don't get crazy with it. I go, I don't know, I think 1/8 of an inch deep, but then I've also found that I don't know, I guess you can do it in Carveco and some of the other ones, but in Vectric, let me get it up over here and I'll show you where I'm doing this. No, that's not what I was looking for. Yeah, here's what I was looking for. Okay, yeah. Let me share this. Okay, so this is the tool path for that tool, and you can see I'm going 5 passes. It's going 75 thousandths deep, but then it gets to 285. It does those first 4 passes, and then that last pass, it's going to total depth of 0.3, but it was at 285 the last time, so I'm only taking 15 thousandths on that very last pass, and that's basically because I just want it to skim it and kind of clean it up if there's any marks. And I found that by doing that, I wasn't doing that at first, but I've learned after doing one that I should have set it to do a real. Here it is, set last pass 15,000. So what I'm doing is trying to just clean that off. Do 10 or 15,000, and then that way uh, if there was any tooling marks, it should clean them up and help where you don't have to sand as much. And I'm all about not having to sand very much if I can help it.
Yep.
But if you don't do that, it's not the end of the world. You can take a piece of sandpaper and roll it around a dowel or something, or just roll it up really and get it pretty good. But yeah, that's how I do the juice groove. 0.3 for the total depth.
Sweet.
And that seems to be have a pretty good look to it. I mean, and I need to wipe this off. These things got all dusty sitting out here in the shop.
So when you're cutting the
This is
oh,
there you can see the juice groove good on this one.
on Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho. And then, of course, I've been cutting just some real simple handles, place where you can get your hand. I'm actually going to start doing something a little fancier. I'm going to try something different on the next one I do. But that one turned out real nice. Like I said, I haven't had any of them turn out terrible. It's just the only one that I'm not real happy with. It was something I did. I put the wrong bit in there, and then I hit the Z wrong. I don't know. When I set the Z, I did something wrong because it went just a hair too deep, deeper
What
than
do
it
you
should.
usually surface it with?
Well, I want to use a 1/4 inch uh, upcut end mill. But I think what I did on this one is I set it on the surface. Usually what I try to do is I set it on the surface. I set my 0. Now, of course, you got the plug on there, so you can't set it on top of the plug. You want to move away from that
Yeah.
and set it somewhere off of the plug. So you set your 0 so that now you're right at the plug. But what I meant to do, and I forgot to do it, is I always move it back up 15 thou and then re-zero it so that the 0 is 15 thousandths above the surface, and then the program I use to surface it is doing 10 thousandths. So it should be just above, and I forgot to raise it up and re-zero, so it was at 0 and then it went down 10, so it's really kind of cutting all into the part that I didn't want it cutting into. And of course, having the wrong bit in there too, that's where I got some tear out with that one. So, but all the other ones have come out really nice. And of course, if you're fortunate enough to have a drum sander, yeah, that's way better. I do not have one yet. Um, so when I skim it off, I'm doing all my sanding with my good old orbital sander. I start at 80 grit till I get it pretty much even down, and then I go to 120, then 240, and then 320 after that. So, all right. I don't see any other comments, so I guess we're good. Well, there you go. If anybody was wanting to know what my settings are, there they are, and I can attest that it's nothing I figured out. They're the same as that guy, bro. So,
So I have a thought for you.
okay.
Instead of like re-zeroing and then moving it up and zeroing it again, I think you could use like 2 playing cards.
Oh yeah, you'd stick them under the touch probe.
Yeah, because each playing a typical playing card is about 7.5 thou, well, like 7.8 thou.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
if you
Well, like I said,
zero it
it
off
doesn't
that,
have to be an exact science. You just want it to be just a hair off of the main cutting board, because you don't really want to cut into that. You want to
yeah,
just remove the plug. But if you get it too high, then you've still got a lot of plugs sticking up, and you got a lot more sanding to do.
yeah, yeah.
Of course, if you have a drum sander, not that big a deal. Run it through there several times and at 80 grit, and you're good. But since I don't have a drum sander yet, I done waited too long though. I told you there's a woodcraft store. It's called Woodcraft West Atlanta.
Yeah,
I've been there 2 or 3 times before.
yeah. It's
They're
close.
going out of business, and they've been having some deals. Well, I'd kind of forgot about it, and then I saw a thing on Facebook where they said, "Yeah, just a couple more days left or whatever." And I saw people were commenting, going, "Hey, you got any of this left or whatever?" So I said, "Hey, you got any drum sanders left?" All they had was like a 10 by 16 bench top thing or whatever. They didn't have either the jet or the the Laguna is the one I want, the 1632. That's the one I'm wanting, but
If you
guess I
check,
won't.
if you check Marketplace, that's where I got mine, was on Marketplace.
Well, I look on Marketplace all the time for different things because I just see what pops up. But I think I'd rather just buy a new one than I don't know. I'm not a fan of buying. I don't mind selling stuff on Amazon because I know what I got. I always price it to sell, and there's usually not much dickering. It's like, yeah, I'll come get it right now. But um, I'm I don't want to. And I won't say I haven't bought stuff. I have bought stuff before, but
But you're a seller, not a buyer.
I'm a seller, not a buyer, because I don't want to go into some shady neighborhood. And, you know, I would just rather buy new, and I know it's good. Lazy old Woodwork says drum sander's a game changer. Yeah, I would say it is. Earl says this is breaking news here. It says Harbor Freight is going to have an October sale.
What?
What?
Do they have
No,
a drum sander?
I don't think they have one like what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They have some of the other kind. Now I have seen a guy. Now he doesn't. I won't. He doesn't do the inlay cutting boards, but he's one of those guys. I can't think of the guy's YouTube channel. Nah, I can't think of what it is. But anyway, he makes all kinds of those really weird designs. Where you cut them and you glue them up, and then you cut them again and you glue them up again. He cuts them like who knows how many times, and he keeps moving stuff around. You get all these really cool looking patterns or chaos patterns or whatever. I think that's what he calls them, is chaos boards. But he does not have a drum sander. He's got one of those handheld things, and I'm like, man, I could just see me screwing something up even worse with that.
Yeah.
But I guess he's used it enough. He's pretty good at hitting it like that, using it.
Well, about 70 miles from me, there's a Perfomax 2244 drum sander.
Ooh.
Built like a tank and can process pieces up to 44 inches wide because it's got an open end on it. Works as it should. It's got a 2 horsepower, 220 volt motor with 110 volts variable speed conveyor motor. Holy crap! You need some power to run that
Yeah.
sucker.
Well, that's way bigger than I would want. I want
Yeah, this thing's a monster.
I want either if I can't get a Laguna, I'd settle for a jet, I guess, because Melinda has a jet and she's pretty happy with it. But hers, I think, is a 1632. But I want the Laguna 1632 because it's just the right size for doing cutting boards and stuff.
Oh,
And I don't want some big honking. Yeah, that ain't something you could just roll around out of the way. Looks like that looks pretty heavy.
they're asking $1,250 for it.
Well, I guess
How
that's.
about Grizzly? Have you
About
looked at
2 years old.
Grizzly, or don't you like Grizzly tools?
I don't have any Grizzly tools, but I don't have anything against them because they're the same as a lot of other tools, just painted a different color.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're all made in China.
yeah, pretty much. Uh, but yeah, I really like the Laguna just because it's got, and I don't know if the other ones have it or not. Maybe they do, but I haven't seen it. But they have a lever on that Laguna where, like, if you want to move it a whole bunch, you don't have to sit there and crank it a bunch of times. You got a lever and you move it and it just slides up. And then you can stick your stuff in there and then slide it back down. And then once you set it, then when you turn it, it does the micro adjustments.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I liked like that one. Russ Meadows said it looked like there was a smokestack on top of that one.
Probably have to have a 6-inch dust collector on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something big.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much all I got. I don't see. It looks like everybody got what they were. If they were looking for the information, they didn't got it or know where to find it. So, um,
Man, some big pieces of machinery out there. There's some big dinosaurs out there on Marketplace too.
yeah.
Is your wife still out of town, or are
No,
you?
she's back.
Oh, so you're doing that sneakily?
Oh, getting the dinosaur?
No, looking at Marketplace.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Was that that last dinosaur thing? Was that a blow up?
No, oh no.
It wasn't. That was a metal one.
It's not metal, from what I understand, but it's like so there's all right. So for everybody that is watching, to catch you up to speed, there's I have a sickness. It's called Facebook Marketplace, uh, but there's a place just south of Manhattan. I forget what it's called right offhand, but it's a dinosaur park, and so they have life-size dinosaur stuff there, and like they teach you about dinosaurs and stuff like that, and some of them move. Anyway, the place is going out of business, and they're selling all the dinosaurs. And they have two T-Rexes, and it's like $2,500 for a T-Rex, a life-size T-Rex. So
Well, you'd have to buy the pair, wouldn't you? I mean, you couldn't separate them.
Yeah.
I mean, you need one on each side of the
They
driveway.
get lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would look so cool at the end of your
Oh,
driveway.
it would be awesome. They have brontosaurus like type looking ones too, and all kinds of other. I mean, they have all of their dinosaurs they're selling.
You know what'd even be
I have a
better
few T-Rexes.
is to get the T-Rexes for the end of your driveway, and then get one of them long-necked ones to put on the backside of your house, looking up over the roof.
The hard part is like, how the hell are you going to transport it? Like,
Oh, you could
Yeah.
figure out
Well,
a
that's why
way.
I was asking, because I thought, and I don't know why I thought that, but when I looked at that last one I saw you post, I thought it was a blow up type thing.
no, but it does move. So I think it's like a rubber or something like that
Okay.
on the outside. But yeah, it's I have where's my
Yeah, I think you should probably get those. Both of them. Both of them.
there's the
Oh, you got to have them both.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so it's a life size. It says slightly used, well loved.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the head moves. I think up and down because some of the pictures are showing him like looking down, and then there's one that he's looking up.
I wonder how much they weigh.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
I
might
would
need,
imagine
you
it's
might
pretty.
need a bigger truck.
No, I don't think that. I don't think it's that big. But I mean, he's 39 feet from nose to tail, so
Wow.
he's pretty big.
That's a big one.
So it says that there's two available, includes control box and speaker, so it roars, and it has limited motion.
I mean, Halloween's coming up. Just think how cool that would be to have it.
Oh,
Oh,
God, yeah.
Halloween.
I don't think you
would.
can get it before November though.
Oh.
How much are they asking for?
Oh, they're available to pick up after November 9th.
Hmm,
For the T Rexes, they're $2,700.
that's not bad.
No, it'd be so awesome.
Oh, wow.
but in like the smaller ones that they have, like the more reasonable sized ones, they're about the same amount. Like they're not all that much cheaper. It's like, man, if you're gonna get one, you
Go
want a
big
big,
or go
you
home.
want a big freaking T-Rex
Yeah.
that'll sit at the end of the driveway and go roar, and all the cars going by.
Then I could say, I know a guy.
Yeah, right. Has a dinosaur.
Well, do they have one of those? What do they call it? Velociraptor? Do they have
Oh
those?
yeah, I'm sure they have all kinds of stuff.
Because see, that wouldn't be as big as the T Rex, right?
No,
Aren't those
no,
smaller?
yeah, no. But
Hmm.
yeah. Well, I'm assuming those will go pretty. The smaller ones will get sold pretty quickly
Yeah.
because they are so much easier to deal with. But yeah, the big one, having a 40-foot long dinosaur would be awesome.
I think so.
Yeah.
If I was going to stay in this house forever, I would really consider it. But since
I don't
we're
know.
thinking about moving
Probably,
in, we
probably add some value to the house.
the house
I mean,
does
how many
come.
houses do you know have a pair of T Rex?
Yeah, the house. Yeah, the real estate agent sitting there going, the house does come with a pet.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it does convey with the house.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll get ready to get out of here. Paul, you got any? Tell me what you're gonna work on this week. What are you gonna work
I am going to start building a side or an end table for my granddaughter for her
Nice.
apartment.
on? Okay. Good deal.
So no laser, no CNC, no 3D printer. This is hands-on woodworking with as
Oh, it's
many
real.
power tools as I
It's
can
real
accumulate.
woodworking then. Okay.
Real woodworking, yeah.
Might as well just go to IKEA.
I thought of that. I went to Home Depot and bought some crooked wood.
Yeah, there you go.
There was a crooked man who bought some crooked wood.
Yeah. They have
Nice.
lots of it there.
They do. They do.
If you can't find what you're looking for there, you can go to Lowe's and get some crooked wood.
We
Yep.
used to have two Lowe's within about 15 miles of me, and they closed them both.
Hmm.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, you got anything you want to tell them about your making it up as we?
Oh yeah. We're doing Saturday night show, making it up as we go. Talk about the latest in CNC lasers and 3D printing videos and all that good stuff, and usually about me potentially buying dinosaurs. So, come and hang out and have a good time. Maybe we'll get you to watch something that you didn't know about was out there.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. And hopefully in the next week, I'll have the Ranger operational again.
Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for updates on that.
I didn't even run it one more time before I took it apart. Like, I just went ahead and just just started ripping it apart when it was time for it
Yeah.
to get changed over.
You didn't find any extra 10 millimeter sockets in there anywhere, did you?
No, and I almost lost one yesterday. I was working on my daughter's car, and I lost one down into the fan. And I was like, man, it's down there, and I got to get it. I had to like reach under the fan. I got oven mitt hands, and I was like, man, I can't lose that 10 millimeter socket. It's got to come out. Yeah, good times.
All right, then. I hope everybody enjoyed the information they got tonight, and if you did, leave a thumbs up on the way out. And anybody that's watching this on the replay, if you've got any questions, be sure and put one in the comment down there, and I'll get back to them. I usually don't get hardly any comments after the fact on
Yeah,
these lives. I don't know why. because according to the views, a few people watch them, but never seem to get any comments. So anyway, that's going to do it. We will get out of here, and I guess see y'all next week. Happy October 1st. I still can't believe it's October already. But all right. See y'all next week.
See ya. Bye.